So I've just completed a cruise on the newest and one of the largest cruise ships on planet Earth, the MSC World America. And in this video, I'm going to give you a thorough, in-depth, honest review of my entire experience. I will be going over everything in this video, from the food, the entertainment, the staff, the overall organization and operation of the ship, the ambiance and flow, the cabins and suites, the attractions, the parties, basically outlining the good and potentially the bad, or at least things that I'm genuinely curious about as the operations of this brand new cruise ship move forward. By the way, full transparency, MSC Cruises did invite me on board to experience the MSC World America in all of its glory. However, I must stress that in this video, my opinions during this review are mine and mine alone, as many of you know, and I try to do so in, I'd like to say, a casual, professional manner. Nevertheless, I was on board this brand new cruise ship for a whopping 18 days, which included a 12-day transatlantic from France all the way over to the Bahamas, and eventually making its way to its home port over in Miami, Florida. Spent 2 days over there, as well as a 4-day celebratory sailing. Now, sailing straight into it, let's start with an overview of this brand new vessel. The MSC World America belongs to the third largest cruise line in the entire world, MSC Cruises. It will be launching in the beginning of April of 2025. It has 22 decks, hosts just over 6,700 passengers at full capacity, 20 bars, 6 pools, 14 hot tubs, 19 restaurants. It has the tallest dry slide at sea at 11 decks and 223 feet jaw drop, as well as a new insane swing attraction known as the Cliffhanger. Now, my first day on this brand new cruise ship was a little different than my standard cruise that I would normally take. I did arrive at the shipyard initially in Saint Nazaire, France. However, I've already made an overview, not a review. I want to be very clear of that experience, which included a 12-day sailing with 9 sea days from Saint Nazaire, France, stopping at Ocean Cay, MSC's private island over in the Bahamas, and eventually making its way to its home port in Miami. If you want to check that video out, I will put it right up here, as well as in the description box below. But for this specific video, I'm going to talk about my time from Miami forward, because to me, that was technically a real test as far as a normal sailing. I do say this because my transatlantic sailing was a cool experience, but it was anything but a normal cruise. Nevertheless, I do have to admit it was a humbling experience and a great opportunity, something that I will honestly never forget, because it gave me a new perspective and outlook when it comes to not only the cruise ship industry, but of course the MSC World America. So once again, make sure you guys check out that overview of my transatlantic and then come back over here. So at the start of my second leg of my cruise on board the MSC World America, I would be starting out in MSC's brand new terminal over in Miami. And when I tell you that terminal is absolutely gorgeous, it smells brand new, and it definitely put me in a mood for vacation. I was honestly shocked at all of the details and layouts that was put into this terminal, because it does appear that even when thousands of people are going to be rushing into that terminal to get on board any particular MSC ship, it would overall flow well. Once on board, I did go back to my stateroom, which happened to be a deluxe balcony with promenade view, cabin number 14282. It was located to the back or aft of the ship, and it would be my first time staying in a cabin of this style, where the balcony is facing inward as opposed to out with an ocean view. At first glance, the cabin was a little tight in my personal opinion, even though I am a small little chocolate man. However, it grew on me very quickly. It had everything that I needed. It was very functional. And when it came to the balcony, like I said, to me, it was something a little bit different, but having not only a view of the ocean, but also the very beautiful promenade area when it came to parties or any of the festivities going on downstairs, I had a great first look at the entire experience going on. The only note that I have about this particular cabin is that it is definitely not going to be for everyone, due to the fact that you can hear everything going on downstairs over in the promenade, from all of the parties to any of the entertainment taking place. If you are an outgoing person and you're going to be at those festivities, sure. If you're somebody that can sleep with, let's say, music playing, it's fine. But if you want some peace, quiet, and tranquility, I would suggest personally a different cabin. I will say, however, when the doors are closed, even if there's music and a party going on downstairs in the promenade, it is relatively quiet overall and will be accommodating for most people. I also had the opportunity to check out a couple other cabins and suites on board, like the inside cabin, as well as the luxurious, the exclusive MSC Yacht Club. There, they had my favorite suite, the duplex. I love the 2 deck layout personally, very elegant space. I saw the Royal Suite in all of its glory. It was located in the forward or front part of the ship with the hot tub kind of tucked in for the ultimate privacy. They also had the largest suite on board, the owner's suite. If you really want to take it up a notch, and by that I mean a lot, and experience ultimate luxury. Now, I must warn all of you, the MSC Yacht Club can be very addictive. From the lounge to the dining area to the high tea to the overall ambiance of the MSC Yacht Club, it can be hard to want to go check out all of the other pretty stuff, from the activities to the other restaurants and everything that the MSC World America has to offer. Anyway, moving on, looking at the MSC World America as far as first impressions, it can be a little overwhelming considering that this is indeed a mega ship. Now, naturally, I know people have their cup of tea, whether they like small ships, mid-sized ships, or even these mega ships that are out. Why? Because when it comes to a mega ship, there is literally a million things to do, from the food, the entertainment, all of the activities. And something I've always said about these mega ships is that it is literally impossible to get to everything within a week's time. So you do naturally have to be organized to a certain extent and plan accordingly as far as what you want to do. Now, let's sail into the food portion of the review. I know this is a favorite for a lot of you guys. However, I do want to start off by saying, as many of you know, myself as well as many others out there have been pretty critical when it comes to MSC as far as the cruising category. I have said on many occasions that the food is not bad typically on MSC. However, it did taste a little bland, like they were afraid to put some salt and pepper on the food, no matter where you went for the most part. However, I do have to admit, after trying a lot of the restaurants on board, they have definitely put their foot in the food. I don't mean that literally, obviously. I mean the food is definitely a lot better than what it was. I dined at the steakhouse on board, Butcher's Cut, one of my personal favorites when it comes to the cruise ship industry. Why? Because for starters, I absolutely love and I'm addicted to surf and turf, filet mignon, and lobster. And when it comes to MSC Cruises being a European/Italian line, I do believe they do the best job when I say I want my steak rare blue, because I know that's not exactly customary in the United States unless you're going to a top tier steakhouse where they do understand how to make it right. Over at the Butcher's Cut, as far as the food with the extras that I did have, I have absolutely no complaints. I've never had any complaints about the steakhouse on board any MSC cruise ship. I dined at Greek Tavern over in the promenade area on deck 8 toward the back or aft of the ship, and I got a full spread and experience of all the food. I have to admit, it was a little overwhelming. I do love Greek food. I don't have any complaints about this place either. The ambiance and design of the Greek Tavern was absolutely beautiful. You can even get your food to go, and they also had another layer, an upstairs, if you will, for additional dining. That way you have a really cool view of the promenade. You have an MSC First inside of the Galleria area, Italy. Now, this is an Italian restaurant, and I do believe it's probably going to be one of the most popular restaurants to dine at. So I will say, if you're going on board the MSC World America, make sure you book your reservations as soon as possible, because the food over there is also outstanding. I was genuinely surprised because I knew the food was going to be good, but when I actually got over there and saw what they were cooking up, man, definitely worth the wait if you have to wait even up until the last day of the cruise to check out Italy. It is an absolute must. You have, in the best of ways, in my personal opinion, the most dangerous dining option on board. And I would say maybe even as an American, the All-Star Sports Bar. There, they have all types of burgers. My personal favorite was the black and blue burger on board. I went there 5 times, from the burger to the cheesecake and all of the other options that they have there, including all different types of American style beer. That place is an absolute must. And you also have this toward the back or after the ship on deck 8 in the promenade area. That way you can enjoy some food. They have darts over there. They have shuffleboard, and of course the beautiful view on the back of the ship. You have pizza and burger in the Galleria area on deck 6, which surprisingly is open for not only lunch and dinner, but even breakfast. Now, this spot I believe is going to be a crowd favorite and very addictive for a lot of people. You guys know that MSC, without a doubt, has some of the best, if not the best, pizza at sea. So I would imagine a lot of people are going to consider that a very common and popular spot, because everything over there is quick to pick up, quick to eat, and absolutely delicious. Of course, you also have your standard, but your crowd favorites, the Mikado buffet. I will say that as far as the buffet area, MSC does make everything look very beautiful and well organized. And of course, they have many options for you to try, and they are available from breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as well as having your standard dining areas. By the way, if you happen to have a sweet tooth on board, of course, all the restaurants have their really nice and delicious desserts. There's a chocolate store, but they also have Sweet Temptations on deck 8 in the back or after the ship that I do believe is going to be an absolute crowd favorite. Not only is the place really aesthetically pleasing, but they've got yogurt, custom ice creams, custom milkshakes. Honestly, I knew that if I ended up staying on board the MSC World America, I would have gained an additional 10 pounds while on board because I didn't want to stay away from that place. And the crazy part about it is I'm not even a big ice cream person. That place was just absolutely delicious and addicting. There are, of course, multiple places to get your coffee fix on board. My personal favorite was the Emporium in the back or aft of the ship on deck 8 in the promenade area. Definitely one you can check out to get good views, some good coffee, and well, have a good start to the morning. Now, I will end this portion of the video by saying, first of all, well done, MSC. A massive step up. I think everybody's going to be happy with the food on board. However, I will caveat that by saying I will be back on board the MSC World America in probably a couple months to see if everything is still, let's say, up to standard and consistent when it comes to the food. Now, we will mosey on over to the entertainment and activities, my favorite portion of the video, here in a second. However, I do have to let all of you know that since this was a celebratory sailing, there were a lot of big names in the house. Not only did we have a cool ceremony with an amazing drone show, something I've honestly never seen before in my entire life. However, you had celebrities like Drew Barrymore, Orlando Bloom, tons of famous TikTokers and influencers. It was not overwhelming, but I was just in shock to see all of these people in person. It was a really cool experience, and I'm very thankful for it. All right, into the entertainment we go. Now, this is one of my personal favorites because, as many of you know, I am a professional breakdancer and acrobat. I've not only worked at theme parks like Universal Studios, SeaWorld, I've worked for the Harlem Globetrotters, I've worked for touring companies, I've worked for entertainment companies, and I've worked for multiple cruise lines. And naturally for me, I am pretty critical about entertainment overall because I do see things naturally with a more, I guess, refined and detailed lens. And when it came to MSC, you guys know over the years, I always said that the entertainment wasn't that great, honestly, compared to the other cruise lines out there. But when I got on the MSC World America, they have definitely stepped up their entertainment, just like the food, to a degree where, honestly, I think a lot of people will be more than satisfied with. What I gathered from the entertainment is that instead of what I've personally experienced on MSC ships, where you have essentially a show every day that is kind of similar to the last one, except for maybe one outlier where it's basically the same show with almost the same choreography and the same music, it does appear that MSC is now focusing on fine-tuning just a couple really good production shows like Queen Symphonic. Now, this is a really cool rock show with an orchestra, and I even said when I was on board, the Americans are absolutely going to love it. I got to meet the choreographer, and I got to get some more details as far as what went into the production of this show. You also had Hall of Fame, which was also another really great show. Keep in mind that on board this ship, there are also two very large theaters. You got the Panorama Theater over in the back or after the ship, and in the front, you have the MSC World Theater. The shows there, for me, like I said, a massive step up. I thoroughly enjoyed them, and I was able to sit and watch the entire show and still continue to be entertained. They also have a Dirty Dancing show. I unfortunately was not able to experience it while I was on board the MSC World America. However, you know, Dirty Dancing is a household name, very famous show, and with the talent that I saw on board as far as all of the dancers and other entertainers, I would imagine they're also going to knock that out of the park. Now, what really caught my eye, aside from, yes, you do have your standard musicians and singers that are kind of spaced around the ship in all of the bars and whatnot, they finally have put in a comedy club. It's called The Loft. And when I was in there, I honestly felt like I was in a legitimate comedy club that you would see over on land. It is going to be kind of get in if you can fit in, so make sure you plan accordingly. And they're probably going to do some type of bigger comedy show in one of the two theaters on board. We also have to factor in the type of comedians they are going to bring, because I do believe there is a such thing as a good comedian that can make everyone laugh versus a comedian whose style maybe only cater to a certain demographic of people. While there's nothing wrong with both, considering MSC among the other cruise lines out there have an overall pretty international audience, that will potentially be a challenge which I am looking forward to seeing and observing down the road. There's also a parade type deal going on in the promenade area on deck 8 where they have circus performers from acrobats to jugglers to even a man with a steer wheel. I actually know how to do the steer wheel, by the way. It's that giant metal circle thing, and it's the first time I've ever seen that on board a cruise ship. Very rare, and it's going to be that extra element that keeps all the passengers entertained on board, in my personal opinion. As far as the activities on board, I don't even know where to begin. Of course, you have Jaw Drop, the tallest dry slide at sea. They have the cliffhanger, which, by the way, I did get to experience 11 times, where they hang you over the ship at 160 feet, something that everyone absolutely should try. I haven't been able to confirm the price. I have heard here and there rumors that it'll be $5 a pop, which I do believe is an absolute steal to experience cliffhanger. Definitely an absolute must. They have your water slides. They have bumper cars. They have rollerblading and make you feel like you're in the Roll Bounce movie. Pretty much everything you can think of, from yoga to a ropes course, they have it on board the MSC World America. As far as the overall flow, spacing, and design of the MSC World America, I do have to tip my hat off to MSC if I was actually wearing one, because I do believe they did an amazing job with this ship. From all of the pools and hot tubs over in the area, because there's so many that are just kind of tucked in, you would never even notice that they were there, to the Botanic Garden. I didn't want to stay away from that place. The hot tubs and pools there look absolutely beautiful and amazing. To the main Lido, they're going to have a DJ over there. From what I saw, a good friend of mine actually, they are going to be keeping the music good and pumping, and everybody's going to have a good vibe there. They have a Zen area in the back of the ship where they have even more pools that are heated, by the way, given the circumstances. And well, just the entire layout of these areas alone are absolutely perfected as far as the craft and even the bars. I felt like I was legitimately on some type of city strip, and there were a million options. From the Elixir bar onward, there was no shortage as far as places to go hang out at, have a drink, and make some memories. They also have a cool area called Luna Park. It is a multi-purpose theater, I guess I could say, but in there, they do have some wild parties. They have one called Appraise. Basically, it's like a winter night where it snows in the room. There's dancers. I do believe that's probably going to be one of the best nights on board, aside from the white party and, of course, the beach party that they have at their private island. They also have a Miami Heat night in Luna Park. Definitely something you absolutely do not want to miss out on. And I'll tell you right now, if I'm ever back on board, well, I should say when I'm back on board the MSC World America, you can find me in there probably doing some breakdancing here and there. But when it comes to the white party, I was shocked, because typically when I see the white party, and I'm sure they're going to probably have like a part 1/part 2 of the white party on board the MSC World America, they ended up having it in the promenade when I was on board on deck 8. Now, that space is not tight, but I would imagine the white party being the biggest, most popular night on board, it is going to get packed in there very, very quickly. I'm going to assume they're going to do that earlier while people are enjoying the other festivities and entertainment and restaurants, and then they're going to have everybody have the, let's say, big hurrah, the final party over at the main pool deck Lido area. But either way, the white party is always a great experience that I had on board any MSC cruise ship. One thing that really caught my eye, that really, from what I've seen, no other cruise line is doing right now, is actually staying overnight in their private island. For example, at MSC's private island over in the Bahamas, Ocean Key, however you guys would like to pronounce it, that area is not only beautiful, but we got to experience that island for 2 whole days, giving us plenty of time to check out the beaches, go jet skiing if we want to, hang out, and, well, enjoy the amazing beach party that they have during the evening hours. The only way that I can describe the beach party was absolutely iconic. You have people jumping up and down, enjoying their time with the ship and lighthouse in the background, with lighthouse shows going on periodically. I don't think any other cruise line is going to be able to touch that right now, or at least in the near future, when it comes to how MSC is doing it. From seeing the MSC World America essentially leave the shipyard to watching this whole process take place as far as the building and the acclimating of the crew members on board. Now, I will say that I have gained a new appreciation for not only MSC cruises, but the cruise ship industry in itself, seeing everything get put together and all the dedication into the craft of making a cruise ship. It's been a cool experience. As far as MSC cruises itself, my first MSC cruise was back in 2021 on board the MSC Meraviglia. And most of you know that I wasn't too fond of MSC at the time, but you do have to keep in mind that MSC has not been operating in the United States as long as the other legacy lines. And I do believe they have been making improvements little by little. I've been on the Opera over in Europe out of Italy. I've been on the Seascape on 4 different occasions. I've also been on other ships like the MSC Seashore. And little by little, I do believe that as long as MSC continues to listen to customer feedback, because I do believe there is a difference between sailing on an MSC ship in Europe or really anywhere else in the world versus the United States, they are, and I've been saying this since 2020, by the way, I do have proof in a video, that they are going to, without a doubt, be one of the best, if not the best cruise line out there in the long run. In conclusion, I will say overall, I think it's pretty abundantly clear that the MSC World America is going to be a force to be reckoned with and an experience that everyone should give a try. I am happy and delighted to see that the food is so much better. The entertainment is so much better. As far as curiosities, yeah, let's go ahead and see what happens overall when it comes to the overall operations of this brand new cruise ship. Honestly, based off of my personal experience, I do have some really high hopes for not only the MSC World America, but MSC as a whole, because they have some big things coming up. They got new terminals coming out. They have new ships that are coming over, new itineraries. And I do believe it is something that everybody should check out if a cruise is something that you are genuinely interested in trying, because you more than likely won't regret it. Anyway, that is my review. I hope all of you found this valuable in some kind of way. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as usual, I love and appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you later. Take it easy.